In this video segment, we're going to be talking about two things that are kind of related. We're going to be talking about decimals, and we're going to be talking about percentages. Now, if you've had a chance to look through some of the practice exams, were surprised at how many questions are based on percentages. Now, the relationship between percentages and decimals is pretty obvious. And we will be doing some problems in the beginning where we're going to convert back and forth, convert from a decimal to a percentage and from a percentage to a decimal. And you're going to have to understand that process when you do the various problems that you'll see on the SAT. So let's take a look now at some typical problems and how we go about solving them. Okay, let's take a look at another percentage problem. As I said before, the only way they can make these difficult, and they will make them difficult on the SAT, is to put a brain twister in here. And the twist they put here, they first say for positive integer x, and you're thinking, okay, positive integers, what are they talking about here? 10% of x% of 1,000 is equal to which of the following? So here you not only have this positive integer thing going on, they've asking you a percent of a percent. So let's break it down and see, we'll untwist it, in other words, okay? Let's break down this part of it first, 10%. Well, how do you write 10%? Let's write it as a fraction. You can write it several ways, but it's probably going to be easier to deal with it as a fraction. That's 10 hundredths, right? And then we want to take that 10 hundredths times x percent. Well, what's x percent? Well, x percent is x over 100. Okay, so we got this part now. And now we're taking that percent times 1,000. Okay, so now all we have to do is find out what we end up with when we get rid of all these zeros and everything. Now, there's several ways I could simplify this. I could just mark a zero off here and a zero off there. And I end up with 1,000 x over 10 times 100, which is the same as 1,000. And right away you should see how you can cancel here. And when you cancel, what do you end up with? You end up with just plain old x, and that is our answer. Okay, here's another example of a percentage problem. And like I say, there's lots of percentage problems on the SAT. This percentage problem, what I want to point out right away is sometimes you'll be given a table and you'll have, not just with percentage problems, on all kinds of problems, ratio problems, they're good about doing tables, fraction problems. And this is no exception here. We have a table and it says questions 11 through 12. We're going to look at question 12. And this is at the top of one of the sample math sections of an SAT test. Here we're talking about rainfall, and it says the following table which shows the amount of rain that fell during a 30-day period in 1998. And then we're going to use that table for reference. Down here it says if 200 inches of rainfall were expected to fall during all of 1998, what percent of the expected yearly rainfall was reached during this 30-day period? Okay, let's first of all make sure we know how much rainfall we had in that 30-day period. Well, you see that the first 17 days you didn't have any rainfall. Now what you have to be careful here, you don't want to just add up these numbers right here and say as the rainfall, because this is how much rainfall you had each of those days, okay? So it would be 5 times 1 in the first case, so we've got 5 inches. And then we've got 2 times 3, because for 3 days they had 2 inches each day, that'd be 6. And then for 3 days they had 3 inches each, which would be 9. And then for 2 days, they had 4 inches each. And that would be 8. So to find out how much rainfall we had in those 30 days, we're going to have to add all these together. 5 and 6 is 11, plus 9 is 20, plus 8 is 28. So we know we had 28 inches. Now let's look at this again. They want to know if there's 200 inches in the entire year, what percentage is this 28 related to this 200? So we want to look at 28 over 200. What percent is that? Another way to write that is x over 100, because percent is a something over 100. So here again, we've set it up easily as cross multiplication. 100 times 28 is 2,800. And we need to divide that by 200 to find out what x is, because 200x equals 2,800. And I'm going to mark off these zeros. And then 2 goes into 28 14 times. So our answer is going to be D, 14%.